All right, guys. Congrats to our guys for finding a way here in this one in Oakland. Boy, they gave us a lot of fits with their zone and their three-point shooting. They have a couple guys that can really shoot it, and that gave us fits for most of the night. But I give our guys a ton of credit, man. They found the way to get some stops and make the necessary plays down the stretch in a game that was, could have gone either way. So I give them a ton of credit.
What was different about their zone? Because kids talked about you don't see that every night. Specifically, what was different about it?
It's unique. It's a 1-1-3. It morphs some into a 2-3, and they'll change it up. They'll make it look sometimes like man. That's the biggest thing. You don't see a zone like that's that extended, that takes away the corners, takes away any type of overload. They can be pretty disruptive with it, but we had some good looks too. Now, we had some good looks that we just didn't make, both around the basket and open threes. Thought we settled a little bit in the first half, but for the most part, we got pretty clean looks throughout the game, but that's kind of what their zone's built. They're going to give you some open looks, and if you make them, you can stretch the game.
You talked a lot about scar tissue from last year, and you had some guys that had been through that when they're up 6, made Zed and Felix or Roddy and Bruce scored 32 straight points. What did you see from those 3 in particular, where that's a moment that last year probably would have gone a different way? Yeah,
I was really proud of those guys because they just, it's hard. It's your first game. You see a different defense. We're struggling against a team everybody thinks we should beat, so you can feel, like the walls closing in, and that can be hard for a young kid, and they just have to relax and go be a player. Like, go focus on the play in front of you right now. Focus on the play in front of you. Do what you've been coached, and then be you. Go be you. And I thought those guys, I thought Roddy had a good look in his eyes. And I thought him drawing 10 fouls was critical. I thought he was able to get into some of the seams of the zone. I give them credit. They had a couple vertical handoff actions that we had went through with 3, a really deep vertical dribble handoff, 5 to their 2-man, and he can just inside foot step, and he made a couple of those to keep it close there. But I give those 3 guys a lot of credit.
You said it's just being one game, but how much do you make of the fact that those guys, those 3 in particular, responded in that moment? How much does that give you a barometer of what you can expect from them going forward after one game?
Yeah, I thought it was really good to see, Adam. I think if they're taking anything away from this game, we have to have a better awareness. We have to guard the three-point line. We have to have a better awareness of shooters. We need to attack zone better. But the biggest takeaway in this particular game, and again, I give Oakland a lot of credit, give Greg and his kids a ton of credit, but the biggest takeaway is the poise those guys played with in the last really 7 minutes, which I thought was really good.
Scotty had several hustle plays early on when he first got in. He made some big shots in the second half as well. What did you see out of him? Just your thoughts on Scotty and the way he played for his first time out there?
Yeah, activity. Activity. He got. I thought he was really active. I thought he made open shots. They got him in the second half on post split actions where they got loose a couple times when they were going some post split actions, and he lost 11, I believe, maybe 3. But outside of that, he was pretty detailed in his defensive approach, particularly for a freshman, in terms of chasing and having awareness of where guys are at outside of that split action. And then he made shots, and he didn't play scared in any way, and he was really active, and I think he had a few offensive rebounds. So he did his job at a really good level.
Chris, comment on rebounding, because after Dayton, you made a comment about we got to do a better job rebounding. You got 42 tonight. That's pretty good look.
Yeah, we still have to do a better job on the glass, on the defensive glass. But offensively, we're doing a good job. We had a few misses we could go get tonight, but we have to do a better job on the defensive glass.
When you feel the walls closing in, coach or as a player, what do you do in those moments? How do you calm those guys, or you just say, play?
Yeah, it's a good question. Breathe. Breathe, for one, as simple as that sounds, and then really just try to discipline your mind to focus on the play in front of you, and it's hard, right? It's hard when you're feeling the pressure of the moment. You're feeling the pressure, again, of beating a team you should beat, and why is the game close, and all. You just have to eliminate all those thoughts, and you have to really focus. I mean, there's good teams. I think Michigan State's down at half right now. There's good teams on this first week that struggle, and I think some of that is there's some perspective required too, and sometimes young guys, they don't always have that. So I think as much as anything, we tried to prepare them for this being a dangerous game. And we're going to be playing a lot of games like this year against good mid-major teams that can certainly beat us if we don't perform well. But I think as much as anything, you're just really trying to discipline your mind to stay in the moment in front of you.
You'd love to win by 20 or have an easy
Sure.
win. And you kind of answered this in a sense, but what can you take from a close game that tests you like this? Or is this just move along?
No, I think poise, the poise we played with, that's probably the biggest, most positive takeaway, is the poise the guys that Adam mentioned played with down the stretch. Zed making free throws. I think that's the biggest takeaway. Outside of that, there's certainly some things we have to get better at and clean up.
You know the term iron sharpens iron, I'm sure. Did you see enough iron tonight?
Sure. Yeah.
Friday?
Yes. Yeah. I think so. But we got to get better in that particular area. Are we tossing the mics here, Gary? Okay. All right. Okay.
Chris, some early foul trouble. Not only Felix, but also Zed. What do you see from Zed to kind of stick with it, though, in the second half?
Well, he's got a couple years on Felix. He is just a little bit better understanding of playing with a little more discipline. I thought Felix has to do his work earlier right now in the post, and I think he got face cut a couple times and just chucked the guy across the lane. He's just got to play with better technique. We've got to help him with that. He'll get better with that. He was playing against a mobile guy. Both those bigs were mobile, but when we put him on 4, he's pretty mobile, and I think that was a difficult matchup.
And then with Roddy, you said it might take a minute for him this year in terms of like fully breaking out maybe. Is this something that he could have done at the start of last year, this kind of flipping a switch from first half to second half, or is that something new?
I don't know if he could have. He certainly couldn't have done this at this point last year. I think later in the year, his role's bigger this year, and I think he's been asked to play a bigger role, and he has responded, and he responded, as I shared with you guys, from a difficult performance against Clemson, and I think his ability to draw fouls right now is going to be important for this group.
When you're playing a team that shoots as many threes as they do, you talked about their zone. What do you want to take from this going forward that can help you in what you guys are going to need to be able to do the rest of the year? Yeah,
we just have to have a higher level of detail on guys that are going to shoot that number of threes. I mean, number 3 for them has shot 15, 18, 16 threes in his 3 games, 2 exhibitions, and now this first game. So, we have a general rule on guys like that, because when you look at his effective field goal percentage, when you talk about his 3s and his 2s, he doesn't shoot any 2s, but his 3s, his effective field goal percentage is over 50%. So the general rule on that is he can't get it off, and I thought he was able to get some clean ones off.
Chris, you said coming into this season, rebounding is going to be a focus offensively, especially the first half when things went well. Defensively, what do you need to see more from your guys on that end of the floor?
Yeah, I didn't think we were quite as disruptive as we needed to be, Whitney. I think we were just not quite as disruptive until that stretch in the second half, and again, rebounding and then just some of the detail against some of their actions we've got to be better with.
We talked to Zed, and he said, I think the quote was he said he could feel the wind in his ears more. He felt faster because he's so much lighter. I guess when looking at Zed tonight, both offensively and maybe more importantly defensively, how do you think he played, especially adjusting to being a little bit lighter and not having quite as much beef?
Yeah, not quite sure how to respond to any of that, really. But he is lighter, for sure. And I do think it's helped him be able to play, maybe a little bit longer stretches. When he got heavier towards the end of last year, and some of it was just his injury. You guys, I'm sure, saw it. Connor, he just really had. He could only play about 3 minutes at a stretch, and we had to pull him out. So I think it was good to see him. I think he could play for longer stretches, not carrying as much weight. And we played he and Felix a lot together in the Clemson game, and we'll do that at some point. It was just hard to do that against their zone tonight.
Yeah, and with Felix, I think he did pick up 4 fouls in like maybe 12, 13 minutes. You mentioned guarding a more athletic guy in the perimeter. Do you think that's how it's going to be this season, is kind of adjust to how are they playing us? Is that going to be more of a Zed game? Is it going to be more of a Felix game and just adjust from there?
Yeah, I think it's just we got to work on his technique. He's got to be able to guard smaller guys, use his length, do his work earlier. He's got to move his feet more. He'll get better with that.
Freshman Scotty Middleton, the moment didn't seem to be too big for him.
Yeah.
Hit a couple of clutch threes back to back there. Just what'd you see out of him? And 3 of 4 at the foul line in the final seconds too to put it away.
Yeah, no, I thought he really did have a good look, Steve. He had a good look in his eye, and he's a good shooter. He's a more than capable shooter. So is Roddy. Roddy just didn't make any tonight. He's a more than capable shooter. Dale's a really good shooter. He struggled tonight. We need more of that from him. But yeah, I thought Scotty had a really good look in his eyes and was detailed. He and Bruce were the 2 most detailed guys on their shooters. And that's a credit to him, and he's got to continue to be that for us.
We spoke to Greg a little bit ago, and he talked about Bruce Thornton being the guy that stood out to him most on film, mainly because he hits big shots in big moments. Did that, down the stretch of last year, and said that he, quote, likes guys who make big shots. He didn't have a strong shooting performance tonight, 3 of 11, but hit a very big 3 down the stretch of this game. Yeah. Just what does that say about Bruce?
Well, he's got to be able to take. I don't care if he's 0 of 10. He's got to be able to take the 11th good one for this team. And he's got the freedom to do that. If it's a good look, he needs to take that for us. I don't care if he's went 0 for the night. So he brings other things to the team, to helping his team win. He's going to be on the floor a lot, and he's going to make a lot of big shots for us.
And then with Roddy, you mentioned how big the fact that he drew 10 fouls was. I guess, obviously the free throw side of that, getting in the bonus, getting guys in foul trouble is big, but what else is important about that offensively?
Oh, I think there were gaps in the zone that he with his size and ability to attack was important for us. I thought we were not able to get the ball into the foul line because of their which is normally where you can attack a zone, but their zone is unique, like I talked about. So the corners can get there, but you also have to punch gaps, and I thought he was the best tonight at punching gaps and creating fouls. Anything else? Okay.
I just wonder what you saw from your guys adjusting to how they were guarding. When we talked to Greg, he said that they knew everything you guys were going to do, and then he made a joke about scouting and everything. But the fact that he felt as prepared as he did against what you were going to do, how did your players have to adapt and adjust to that to the game, and what kind of wrinkles did you have to try to get from them?
Yeah, no, I think I don't know at this point, this early in the year, if you ever know exactly what any team's going to do from top to bottom. But I'm sure they looked at what we've run against zones in the past and had that scouted. And you just don't face as much zone as you do, man to man. So probably 70% of our preseason has been. Probably 60 because we're playing a team that's going to zone on Friday, and then we're playing another 40-minute zone team that's got a terrific zone in Merrimack, who's a really, really good mid-major, and they have a terrific zone. So we probably practiced it more. We just got to continue to get better with it. I think obviously teams are going to scout and kind of know what we do, and we've got to continue to add to our package. But really, it's out of concepts as much as anything, Adam. Was there any other one? Okay. All right. Thanks, guys.